Hi, I'm Bill Merrell. I want to thank you very much for dropping in today. This is things they usually don't teach you. You'll see that the slides are basically into major areas, like things they don't teach you about Pennsylvania. That's a big portion of this program. So we'll just start right off with it. Oh, let me go back here. Okay, crazy facts about Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania has a highway to nowhere. They call it the road to nowhere. It is a 6-lane highway that ends in a forest because they ran out of money in the 1980s. In the mountains of southern Pennsylvania, there's a 13-mile stretch of highway where the rules of the road don't apply. You can change lanes without signaling. Heck, you can do it even without looking. Of course, you won't be in an automobile, and neither will anybody else, because all will be on a abandoned Pennsylvania turnpike. Pennsylvania grows about 60% of America's mushrooms on its own, primarily in the areas around a small town of Kennett Square, southwest Philadelphia. Per USDA chart 2021, the state was by far the largest producer in the nation. Only nearby New Jersey and agricultural-heavy California came close, with roughly 1 to 4 million square feet of production space each, compared to more than 4 million in Pennsylvania alone. In 2017, the industry was churning out revenue of more than $760 million a year. Crazy facts about Pennsylvania number 3. The state capitol building was modeled after the Rome's St. Peter's Basilica. And it costs more to build than the entire Louisiana Purchase. So now you have an idea where your tax money went. Crazy facts about Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania has the oldest continuous farmers market in the country. Lancaster, Pennsylvania is known for the Red Rose City, a reference to its UK namesake, which was the seat of one of the houses doing battle during the War of the Roses. The city is considerably historic, with imposing 18th century architecture, Civil War era historical sites, and attractions that reflect the area's long Amish history. On top of this, the city is located to Lancaster Central Market, a sprawling red brick wonder that has been in the hearts of the area food trade since 1730 and is believed to be the oldest continuing operating farmers market in the entire United States. Crazy facts about Pennsylvania number 5. Pennsylvania has many firsts in America. Pennsylvania Hospital was founded in 1751 by Dr. Thomas Bond and Benjamin Franklin to care for the sick, poor, and insane who were wandering the streets of Philadelphia. Note they still do that. At the time, Philadelphia was the fastest growing city in the 13 colonies. Carl's Drug Store, believed to be the oldest U.S. drugstore, is celebrating its 200th birthday or anniversary in Greencastle, Pennsylvania. 200 years later, Carl's Drug Store is still a vibrant part of the community. It's Greencastle's oldest business and is believed to be the oldest continuously operating pharmacy in the United States. More than 235 years ago, with the United States in its infancy and just months away from the end of the Revolutionary War, the Pennsylvania Evening Post delivered America's first daily newspaper on May 30th, 1783. The Post is also famously credited as the first newspaper to publish the United States Declaration of Independence on July 6, 1776. And if you notice in the background there, that is a copy of that newspaper. Crazy facts number 6. Pennsylvania would be justified in renaming itself Pretzelvania. The Keystone Steak is responsible for churning out 80% of the pretzels in the United States. At one point, the city of Reading played such a huge role in producing this popular snack that it was dubbed the pretzel capital of the world. Located in the southeastern part of the state, Reading was once home to over 24 pretzel factories. The tale of how this happened has various twists and turns. Crazy fact about Pennsylvania number 7. Pennsylvania has more ghost towns than anybody else. Whether it vanished due to the downfall of the coal industry, government seizures, or public works that never saw the light of day, Pennsylvania's ghost towns are full of exciting stories to tell. Have you ever heard of a town where the ground beneath your feet is on fire? Welcome to Centralia, Pennsylvania, a ghost town with a burning secret. In 1962, a coal mine fire ignited beneath this small town and has been burning ever since. Once home to over 1,000 people, Centralia now has fewer than 10 residents, streets are empty, houses abandoned, and smoke rises from the cracks in the ground. Crazy laws on the book in Pennsylvania. It is illegal to sing in the bathtub and considered a disturbance. You're not allowed to catch a fish with your mouth. It is illegal to sweep dirt under the rug in some towns in Pennsylvania. It is illegal to use a ferret for hunting purpose under the fair chase laws. You can't tie a string on a dollar bill to trick people because that is considered theft. And this is the one that I love. It is illegal to eat peanuts while walking backwards in a parade and can be punished with jail time or a fine. Facts about the U.S. Alaska is the largest state with the lowest population density in the country. 1.28 people per square kilometer. Arkansas is the only state where you are allowed to dig for diamonds and take them home. If California was a country, it would have the 5th largest economy in the world. Hawaii is the only island state that has the highest cost of living. In Iowa, there are more pigs than people. And in Nevada, 80% of the land belongs to the federal government. Lake Superior could cover all the land in the Western Hemisphere. Taking out the title of the world's largest freshwater lake, you'd expect Lake Superior to be big, but it is truly massive with a surface area of 82,100 square kilometers, about the size of Maine. It holds 3 quadrillion gallons, or 10% of the fresh water in the world. That's enough to cover both North and South America under 30 centimeters of water. More people live in New York City than in 40 out of the 50 states. New York is one Big Apple home to 8.5 million people. That's more people crammed into one city than 40 other states in the United States. This fact about America is especially shocking considering that the area of New York City is just under 780 square kilometers. As a side note, this is one of the things about the unlimited immigration that came into the country. Up to 20 million people, which in fact was more people than I believe it was 27 different states. Okay, so that's why, the voting potential in that is what was part of the problem there. There are more bourbon barrels than people in Kentucky. As the birthplace of bourbon and the makers of 95% of the world's bourbon supply, it makes sense that Kentucky has more bourbon barrels than people. But it's still crazy to think that the bourbon barrels outnumber the population by more than 2 million. Kansas produces enough wheat in 1 year to feed everyone in the world for 2 weeks. According to the National Association of Wheat Growers, the state of Kansas produces enough wheat to feed around 9,000 wheat in 1 day and to bake 36 billion loaves of bread each year. That's enough to make sure no one in the world would go hungry for 2 weeks. If only there was a way to transport and distribute the wheat around the world. Americans eat around 100 acres of pizza every day. Americans love their pizza, so much so that they collectively eat 100 acres of pizza every day. That's around 300 billion pizzas a year. The most popular time to order pizza is around the Super Bowl. Now that's American. Independence Day didn't happen on the 4th of July. You probably love celebrating the 4th of July, but one of the things you may not know about America is that it was actually July 2nd when the Congress voted to free the U.S. from British rule. We celebrate on the 4th of July because that is when John Hancock wrote the first signature on the Declaration of Independence. Following his famous signature, 56 men then signed the document to pronounce their intended independence. All right, we're going to take a break there. And in fact, we'll come back with part 2 whenever we get back. All right, see you on the other side. Thanks for coming back. Once again, this is things they usually don't teach you. We discussed a lot of the areas in Pennsylvania, and now we're moving out to the rest of the country and see what happens. Okay, the first slide we have on this half of the program is Crater Lake is very deep. Okay. Crater Lake is a volcano-created lake in south central Oregon. Takes the title of the deepest lake in the United States, as well as the 9th deepest lake on Earth. The lake is 592 meters deep. That's enough to cover 6 Statue of Liberty stacked on top of each other. If you want to go for a swim, there's only one safe spot to swim in Crater Lake, and it opens from mid to late June each year. Interesting facts about Christmas that will surprise you.
My energy bill dropped from $150 to $50
Don't
by
have
doing
to do
this.
that one.
My friends laughed at me when I spent $49.
Jingle Bells wasn't written for Christmas. One of the most famous Christmas carols wasn't even meant for December. Jingle Bells was originally written in 1857 by James Lord Piermont as a Thanksgiving tribute. The melody, called One Horse Open Sleigh, was meant to celebrate winter fun, but it was catchy enough to infect Christmas playlists everywhere. Other interesting facts about Christmas that will surprise you. Not all Christians celebrate Christmas on the same day. While much of the world marks Christmas on December 25th, or the night before, starting Christmas Eve, not everyone's calendar matches. Many Orthodox Christians, including those in Russia, Ethiopia, and Serbia, celebrate on January the 7th, following the Julian calendar. In Armenia, Christmas Day is January the 6th. Interesting facts about Christmas that will surprise you. Christmas markets date back to the Middle Ages. Christmas markets have been around for centuries. The oldest on record dates back to 1298 in Vienna, where townsfolk gathered for festive trading. By the 14th and 15th century, they spread across Germany, giving us today's enchanting, and I can't say it, so I'm not going to try, 7 centuries later. Sipping, I guess that's beer, by Fairylight is still a European essential and something you can do on one of the Trafalgar's Christmas market tours. Interesting facts about Christmas. The Statue of Liberty was the biggest Christmas gift. The world's most famous lady in green is technically a Christmas present. In 1886, France gave the Statue of Liberty to the United States as a festive gift, weighing an astonishing 204 metric tons. Pretty cool to unwrap a colossal landmark instead of an ugly sweater or socks. Some more interesting facts about Christmas. Christmas was once banned in America. Believe it or not, Christmas used to be illegal in Massachusetts. The Puritans banned it in 1659, claiming the celebration was sinful excess. Anyone caught festing or showing festive cheer was fined 5 shillings. The ban lasted until 1681, but as suspicious lingered, that Christmas only became a federal holiday in the United States in 1870, nearly 2 centuries later. There are 26,000 recorded covers of Silent Night, making it the most recorded holiday song in history. White Christmas is a distant second at 20,000. Silent Night is the most recorded carol. First performed on Christmas Eve in 1818 in Oberdorf, Austria, Silent Night quickly spread far beyond its humble church origins. Since then, it has been translated in over 300 languages and holds the Guinness World Record as the most recorded Christmas carol, with everyone from Bing Crosby to Beyonce singing the tune. Some more interesting facts about Christmas. The world's largest snowflake was plate-sized. A snowflake reportedly measuring 38 centimeters wide drifted to the ground in Montana in 1887. That's bigger than a dinner plate. While scientists still debate the claim, locals at Fort Keogh swore by it. And to give you an idea, there it is, 15 inches wide and 8 inches thick. Some more interesting things about Christmas. Italy has La Befana, the Christmas witch. On the night of January the 5th, children in Italy await La Befana, a kindly old witch who swoops down the chimney to deliver gifts and sweets. According to legend, she missed the wise men's journey to Bethlehem and has been searching for the Christ child ever since. Good children get candy, naughty ones get cool, providing she is both festive and fair. Prince Albert popularized the Christmas tree. While decorated trees are now a Christmas staple, it was Prince Albert, Queen Victoria's German husband, who made them fashionable in Britain in 1848. An illustration of the royal family gathered around the decorated fir tree was published, and soon every household wanted one. But the idea evergreen decoration goes back even further. The Romans celebrated Saturnalia by decking homes with the greenery. History they don't teach you in schools. In 2002, a group of Maasai warriors from Kenya donated 14 cows as an official gift to the United States as foreign aid for those displaced by the 9/11 attacks. I've always felt it was one of the more meaningful diplomatic moves I've ever seen in my lifetime. History they don't teach you. A ship named Sultana sunk when returning Union POWs after the end of the Civil War. Around 1,200 Union soldiers died in this disaster, but it was incredibly overlooked because of Abraham Lincoln's assassination and the subsequent capture of John Wilkes Booth. More history that they don't teach you in school. Teddy Roosevelt was ridiculous. Most people know his life story, but the dude did everything. As a kid, he was scrawny and bullied, so he decided to do something about it. He somehow overcame asthma and started boxing and determined to always stand up for bullies. He knocked a man out in the bar that pulled a gun on him. He told the people to cheer on his opponent. While his opponent was knocking the stuffing out of him in a boxing match, his mother and wife died on the same day. His wife, while she was delivering his daughter into the world. This also happened on the same day he received a huge ovation for helping to get legislation passed. More of Teddy Roosevelt. After their deaths, Teddy abandoned the city and went into the wilderness, where he basically became Daniel Boone. Somehow, later he became a police commissioner of New York and ramped up their abysmal police force. Then, as governor of New York, he was such a pain in the neck for the state's businesses that they got him nominated as vice president, since vice presidents notoriously have nothing to do in little power. McKinley dies and Roosevelt kickstarts the progressive era. This doesn't even include the time in Naval Department for his wartime escapades. Roosevelt also volunteered to form a militia to go to France and serve during the opening days of World War I. Roosevelt also had a son that was a pilot in World War I. He was killed in action. The Germans discovered this, it was his son, and they used it as propaganda that backfired in a huge way. With morale already really low among the Germans, they found out that the Americans were willing to send their upper-class sons into battle while the German nobility stayed in their ivory towers. Last but not least, from the Patch, October 14, 2025. Representative Christopher Rabb, a Philadelphia Democrat, plans to introduce a bill that would ban the use of Native American Indians mascots or logos in public schools. Far too long, indigenous people have faced discrimination, disrespect, and violence, he stated in a memo for colleagues. Let's look at this now for Peters Township. William Peters, an American Indian, was a very successful trader working with the British, French settlers, other Indian tribes here in western Pennsylvania. He was a leader in the community and was married to a white woman, which was very unusual at that time. He owned a very large part of Washington and Greene counties, as well as parts of Ohio and West Virginia. So, as usual, this clown, referring to the politician, opening his mouth without knowing what he's talking about. Peters Township schools districts were named for this very successful Native American, and the Indian is anything other than disrespectful. Peters Township was one of 14 districts the patch mentioned that would have to change their mascots. Now, the problem that I have with this, and I'm going to go off topic here, was because of the fact that when I went to school here, and you'll see the next slide, we were taught about our history. Matter of fact, our newspaper for the school was called the Shawnee. Like I said, it's sad that our first grade and second grade teaches things about Mexico and everything, but they don't touch base usually with our local police. And when I was on the school board, I tried to change some of that. They should know the benefits of the people around them and what they provide for them. Now, the problem is this representative, whenever he talks about this, he also talks about Aliquippa as being one of the areas that misuse the Indian. Queen Aliquippa was in charge of the Aliquippa Indians. And in many tribes had women as in charge of these tribes. So this guy is talking because of the fact that he thinks it's politically correct. I think it's, terrible that they open their mouth and not knowing what they're talking about. And this clown is a prime example of that. I'm asking at this time, and I'll show you why this is very important to me. I'm asking that you contact your state representatives and tell them to keep their hands off, and don't bring up a bill that has a law that requires us to change, because it's not being disrespectful whatsoever. I think this would be a great school project. Teachers have their students sign a petition, send it to these clowns, because they don't know what they're talking about. Our history is phenomenal when it comes to what happened here with the Indian tribe, and especially William Peters. Now, the reason why this is so personal for me, that's me. I was the Indian here at Peters Township in 1968. And I surrounded myself with absolutely beautiful women, which was really quite nice at that time. Matter of fact, one of the women to the fourth one from the right in the back was either Miss Pennsylvania, Teen Miss Pennsylvania, or runner-up. But most of these women were, in fact, on the homecoming court. They were either the queens or part of the court itself. So this was a time whenever we learned what our history was, which I believe really should be taught again every day. But anyhow, I want to thank the following organizations for adding information that, in fact, supported this program. We'll be doing another program very soon with talking about colleges and universities, what it means to look at these schools, how AI is going to affect them, what the cost of, the distance, and everything else. But the last thing I want to say is I wish you all a very Merry Christmas. Thank you.